Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
$11:04 on a Wednesday golf episode that we'll get to. Lots of hockey breakdown from last night. Light slate in the NHL tonight, just the two games. If you're watching over on YouTube, you got any plays, pass them along. That would be great. And if, of course, you're listening on TuneIn or on iHeart or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. And then one of you will be texting in a winning text around 11:40 today. We'll bang out that keyword to Vegas today. Well, let's bring in Huss from Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in about an hour over on the WST channel. Huss, what's going on, buddy? How you doing, man?
Not much, looking forward to getting into the lock shop, getting Patty in here, talking a little golf, a little baseball. Not a lot of hockey tonight, but
no.
Busy night last night. Wasn't great in the lock shop. Saw a pretty fun game, though, here in Winnipeg, I'll be honest. There was a lot to chew on from last night's OT win for the Oilers. And listen, I mean, the fact that it was Zach Hyman that scored the winner in the fashion that he did, considering the online discourse that had been taking place for the better part of yesterday. Frankly, it's unfortunate in some ways because it just put gas on that fire and gave that idiot more of the attention that I think he was seeking when he dropped that video in the first place. But what did you think of the game? I mean, you watched it on television. I was in the building. And what was the Oilers' perspective on that one?
Well, it's interesting, and we'll get into it on Oil Stream a little bit later on. But, I mean, for anybody who's here with us on Lock Shop today, it would either be Winnipeg or Edmonton-based, I would think, for the most part. So feel free to chime in on the game, guys. I thought Winnipeg came out great. I mean, they had a great start. They had a couple of really good looks, a couple of breakaways where they just had guys skating right between the Oilers defensemen. I thought Skinner came up and made some pretty good saves. And then the Oilers kind of got going. And then it kind of summarized the Oilers lately. Like, they haven't had great starts. And they've allowed some leads to slip away recently. Salvaged it in this situation. But they're kind of like a 40-minute team sort of thing. And I think we saw that a little bit last night. And I don't know. How's that one viewed in Winnipeg? Like, stormed back, got the point, which is good. Had the lead. I don't know. How do you view that one?
Well, first off, I'm glad you mentioned Stuart Skinner because I think he prevented the Jets from really getting up to a significant lead in the first period. Like I thought the Jets came out and listen, they'd had a couple real stinkers coming, on the road trip. I've talked about that in the last couple of days. We wanted to see a team that was engaged, committed, and ready to play and ready to match a really good team like Edmonton. And I think they did that. So that was one positive. They really got away from it in the second period, and it just seemed to be Edmonton all over the Winnipeg Jets. Obviously, special teams is a big part of that game. I mean, the Jets doing nothing with their power play was another big part of it. And I think when you don't do anything like that, you really give momentum to the other club. Now, the fact of the matter is the Jets looked cooked in the third period when that 4-minute penalty came up. The Oilers get 30 seconds in. So I think they showed a lot, hanging on, killing that second minor, and then not quitting and getting right back into that game and really taking it to Edmonton for the remainder of the third. I mean, they get that gift call with 2 minutes left. You have to do something with that power play. That's certainly going to be a big conversation today, I'm sure, on the show, is that Gabriel Velarde can't come back soon enough because it just seems like when he is not there, the power play does not work as intended. And as far as OT goes, I mean, listen, the bottom line is the Jets got back. OT is irrelevant to me. Shootouts irrelevant. When we get to the playoffs, that we're playing 5-on-5. So it is what it is. But your top players, in this case for the Winnipeg Jets, Scheifele and Connor, have to be able to match that level of fight, that level of intensity that the other teams are bringing. And I mean, too often over the years, not as much this season, but I think we saw it last night. I mean, Connor gives the puck away, and then, of course, I mean, when Scheifele gets walked by Zach Hyman, I mean, you have to be able to make it a little more difficult for the guy to do what he's doing. And that was that's something they're going to need to raise their level, basically. I mean, I thought the Lowry line was awesome against McDavid last night. I mean, there was a lot of guys that stepped up and had good games from a Jets perspective. But that team is so dangerous that you give them, like, I didn't think the Oilers were great last night. And I thought the Jets were much better than they were before. That game probably deserved to go to overtime, to be honest with you. But I think both of those teams are going to need to get their game to another level in a number of ways come playoff time. Like, after the game, I happened to watch a replay of the Boston-Florida game.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, you want to talk about nasty, intense, everyone in the fight. I mean, two teams. That was that game last night. And as much as it was a real fun game in the building, you know, to
couple of scraps.
The crowd was awesome. Yeah, exactly. The hockey that some of these teams are playing right now is just another gear and another level of commitment from every single guy in the room. And I would say the Jets certainly have to get there, and at least just from what I saw last night with the Oilers. But I think if you look at their last few games as well, there's another gear or two that team is going to need to get when we get to the postseason in Game 83.
Yeah, Oilers. I thought they were really good in the second period last night. Second period, they kind of started to push a little bit, but like you mentioned some of these other teams, like the Oilers can't come out and go through the motions for 7-8 minutes in a playoff game like that. You got to, from puck drop, you got to be going right. So, and I said, after that 20 minutes, I tweeted out, I said Skinner was the best player on the ice in the first, and McDavid was quiet. And I thought that was the Lowry line that did a really good job in the first period, man. That's an advantage is that the Jets do have, and I'm not just talking like specifically against the Oilers, but the Jets can take that third line hus and play them in significant minutes against other teams' top lines, and they're freeing up their top six to really go and wheel out there against some of the other lesser knowns and some of these other teams.
Well, and Rick Bowness takes it to a whole nother level. Like, how about starting Lowry and Appleton in overtime?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that is just something that most coaches wouldn't do, and he took a lot of heat for that earlier on in the season. But the way I look at it is, for the Jets, like, are the Jets better off? Like, do they have a better chance of winning in a shootout or overtime? I would say with Connor Hellebuck in net, you'd probably give them the nod in the shootout.
Go to the shootout,
Even with, like, I'd say your chances probably are a little bit better than OT. What's your biggest chance to lose in overtime? It's getting burned by McDavid and Draisaitl. So if you can get a saw off for that first minute, get through the McDavid Draisaitl shift, and then turn it over to your top players, I think that gives you a better chance to win. Because I'll tell you what, I mean, we saw what Hyman did to Scheifele and Connor. McDavid and Draisaitl against Scheifele and Connor is not a matchup that I think Rick Bowness is comfortable with. I certainly am not comfortable with. So it's a really unique. I know there was a lot of talk about it after the game. This isn't the first time that he's done it. We'll get into it today on WST, but it really doesn't matter because, as I said, when we get to Game 83, it is going to be 5-on-5 until somebody scores. And, these teams are going to need to be ready for it. I think some of the teams in the East and a team like Nashville right now is a lot more ready. They've basically been playing playoff hockey for the better part of the last month or so. But how about that comeback last night, too? Down 3-0 to Vegas, and they come back and get it done again.
Down 3-0, down 4-1. 3 goals in the third period. Forsberg hits 40. Riley had his 26th. Nyquist, I think, scored his 20th. And then Roman Josi, who's just been phenomenal for them during this stretch. When they're down 4-1, I mean, I looked at it, and I know they've been on an incredible run, but I was like, so this is where it ends. Like, this is it. Like, Vegas goes in and, comfortably. And the Nashville Predators they refuse to lose. It's phenomenal what they're doing right now. And, they're still within strike. What do they play the Jets one more time, us? Is it one more between the Preds and the Jets?
They're 4 back now. From Winnipeg. I think they were 18 back about a month ago or so.
So that's a huge game whenever that one happens. And who knows? I mean, if I know that they're not Colorado. I know that, they haven't been as good as Dallas throughout the year, but I mean, who in the world would be like, I'll take the Jets in the playoffs right now, like that, or the Preds in the playoffs right now? Like, that's a scary proposition with a top 5 NHL defenseman, a legitimate starting franchise goalie, and then a group of forwards who just don't know any better right now. Like it's been very impressive what they're doing.
Coaching's been great, and it kind of feels like it's the Barry Trotz era all over again, and Barry's putting that team together. So, I mean, just looking at the standings right now, the wild card spots are Nashville and Vegas. And the Jets play Vegas tomorrow night here in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is 8 points up on Vegas with 10 games remaining. So, man, like to make up that much in 10 games is really, really tough.
Yeah.
If Nashville did catch Winnipeg, the Jets would end up being the first, like who of those two teams, it would be the first wild card in all likelihood. And then I guess the question is, who finishes higher, Dallas, Colorado, or the Vancouver Canucks? Like from a Jets perspective, like I would not mind a matchup with Vancouver. Like Vancouver has had a great season so far, absolutely. But again, this team hasn't been to the playoffs before. Like the team I really don't want to see is the Avalanche. I just think that they're kind of getting to that level right now that when they are rolling, they are such a difficult out. Now Dallas won last night, so Dallas actually is 2 up on Colorado right now in the division, but they played that one extra game. So listen, it's going to literally come down to that last weekend, I think, as far as the jockeying of the teams. But 6 points. I mean, I think we can basically say that Vegas, Nashville, LA, Edmonton, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Colorado, Dallas are going to be the 8 teams in the playoffs. I mean, I think St. Louis, after losing to Vegas in OT the other day,
that's a killer.
Pretty much done. The Wild as well. There's just not enough runway left for those teams to make it happen. So we'll get 10 games left. It's time to get ready to be I'd love for those, like the Jets and frankly the Oilers too, probably wouldn't be bad to watch that Boston-Florida game last night, because it seemed to be, just as I said, on a different level, and the level that you need to be if you want to compete against the best teams come playoff time.
Nielson and Huss with you. 2 games in the NHL tonight. Let's quickly hit on these. It's a light night. Then we'll bring in Pat. We're going to talk some more MLB futures. We're going to obviously set up the Houston Open. And your plays tonight, you can slide into the Nasty Chat, or you can text them to us at 780-218-9999. The Buffalo Sabres at home tonight, -138 favorites against the Ottawa Senators. And then the Bruins, coming off that big win yesterday against the Florida Panthers, rolling to Tampa. Tampa -116, Boston -101 on the money line. You're starting goaltenders in these 2 games tonight. Korpisalo confirmed for Ottawa. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen listed as likely for the Sabres. And then Vasilevsky and Ullmark in that Boston-Tampa game. Haas, very light card here tonight. I know some people are throwing out some player props and stuff in the Nasty Chat, but are you staying away tonight? What are you looking at tonight from these 2 teams, these 2 games?
You know what? The one play that I like is the over in the Boston-Tampa game. Both of these teams have been scoring goals as of late. I think Tampa's over in 7 of their last 9, and Boston is very similar to that.
Yeah, Tampa's been scoring in bunches, man.
Tampa's 6-0-1 in their last 7. They're playing really well. So I think they're going to get theirs. I think that maybe means it's a little bit more of an open game. And, Boston, I think, is going to be coming into that game feeling pretty good about themselves after they just need 1 point to clinch their playoff spot. So the total is 6. I guess, with 6, you could always get the push. I don't even mind 6.5 at +109 with OT included. So, the old 3 + 3 = 7 in OT.
Yeah, that's right,
man. So I'm going to take the over in that game. I don't have a real good feel on this Ottawa Buffalo game. Both of these teams have been so untrustworthy throughout the year, and both of them are pretty much done. So the focus tonight is on Boston Tampa, and we're going to be cheering for some goals, and Why not take it to 6.5 and get the plus 109?
Plus 109 and the over there is not bad. You can chime in if you want. Spency 5 cents, he says, I like Boston and Tampa on a draw tonight at plus 320. Has hit in 2 of the last 3 games. So, that nice little 3-3 into overtime, cash the over and get the draw there as well. Hell, at that point, we might as well bet exact score 4-3. Spency 5 cents. We'll see how that one plays out. All right, let's bring in Pat Gregoire from Coolbet. It is a Wednesday. We like to spend our Wednesdays talking some golf and some MLB futures. Maybe we go there. I mean, we could also start with the Maple Leafs getting doubled up at home by the Devils 6-3 last night. Patty, what do you think of that?
That was a frustrating game, to say the least. They got about 100 shots on net. Didn't have Jake Allen goalied on my bingo card for the game last night, but it is what it is. I mean, I thought they had a really good push in the start of the first period, or in the first period, 25 shots on goal. Just couldn't find a way to find the back of the net. And Joseph Woll, definitely not a banner night, but there were a lot of high danger chances of those goals. Fast breaks, odd man rushes, breakaways. So they didn't really do him all that many favors, even though they didn't give up a ton of shots. But the shots that they did give up, a lot of them were high quality.
Patty, you know what? I was just talking about, we were talking about the Jets-Oiler game. I mentioned I went out after the game and watched the replay of the Florida-Boston game. I don't know if you caught any of that, but the Leafs better be ready to go come playoff time. And all that grit they got, the Domi and Bertuzzi, if that playoff series is anything like that game last night between 2 very willing combatants in Boston and Florida, it is going to be an absolute war. And I guess Boston's got 2 on Florida. Florida's got a game in hand. I mean, I don't know whether they match up better with one team or the other, but I can guarantee you that it will be nasty and they're going to need to be ready to go. I was so impressed with just the level of intensity. It felt like a playoff game last night.
Yeah, it's big boy hockey. What can we say, though? That's what we've learned to expect from those 2 teams over the last couple of years. I will say, though, why were we so, Twitter was going abuzz. It was all over SportsCenter that Brad Marchand fought that big, tall Finnish guy. Who cares? The guy has had the guy's 6'5", but he had 5 previous fights in his career. And it wasn't much of a fight. It really was nothing. That really annoyed me. Listening to the home, Bruins call to it obviously didn't make matters any much better.
Jack Edwards on
the
mic.
Jack Edwards made it seem like it was down goes Frazier when it was really just a pillow fight and the 2 went down to the ground. But that could be me being a bitter Bruins hater. Obviously, you like seeing your captain throw down. It's a bigger guy, but it's not like he was going up against Zdeno Chara in his prime or anything like that. But those 2 teams are teams that if I was lining up the Eastern Conference up against the wall, old school, schoolyard rules, and you're picking an opponent, those 2 guys would be the last ones I want to go up against. And unfortunately, those are the 2 teams that the Leafs are probably going to have to play in the first round and likely the second round. So if they were to get through. So tough scene for Toronto hockey coming up here in the playoffs.
Boys, do we want to start with the regular? Do we want to get into golf, or do we want to hit the futures and then come back around to the golf? What do you think? Should we go with the golf? Probably the golf, eh?
Yeah, let's get into.
I think we go with the golf. Okay, before we get into the Houston Open, because we talk so much golf, and Pat, I know you got some news. I don't know if you want to say it on the show today, or do you want to start with that?
Yeah, let's start with that.
Okay, yeah, let's start with it. I think this is great.
Yeah, you might have seen over the last couple of weeks a Canadian golfer with a Coolbet logo on their chest. No, it's not Taylor Pendrith. He's got it on his arm. We're happy to have him back. But we're also excited to announce today that Adam Svensson will be joining Team Coolbet, a BC boy, another Canadian. He'll be having on his front chest of all his apparel throughout the PGA Tour season. So we're excited to bring him on board. He's going to be doing some VIP events for us as well, see some content as well. So we're pumped. We have 2 of the most up-and-coming Canadian talents on the PGA Tour. It's been a little bit of a rough start for both these guys, but we're confident that things are going to turn around for both of them And Svenny had a great start.
Svensson actually has been in the mix in a bunch of
Yeah,
tournaments.
he's been around, man.
He's really
He
on
has.
the come up.
Yeah, and it was just an unfortunate Sunday. I think he finished, +6, but he was right there. And we're excited to have him. We're excited to have Taylor back as well. So big news for Coolbet. And yeah, it's get used to seeing the polar bear on the PGA Tour live or when you're watching live on TSN, wherever it may be. This weekend, Svensson in a pretty big group on Thursday and Friday is going off with our boy Akshay and Jake Knapp. So I think he'll be probably featured in a featured group at some point throughout the weekend.
I just imagine the lock shoppers like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme where they're pointing at the TV when they see him with the Coolbet logo on their chest. They're like, that's the guy. I like that. That's good. Well, congrats, man. That's a great relationship. And I know we were texting, but it'd be fun to chat with him sometime on the lock shop. That'd be a lot of fun just to dive into it a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely have him on.
We're not going full blown Ohtani here or anything, but we can have a nice chat with him and talk some golf. Yeah. So there's
yes. Maybe we have him on the Nielsen show or
that's a good idea. That's a good idea. We'll get him on WST and EST. Yeah, that's right. So how you feeling this weekend? Look, I also wanted to get to this on the golf thing. Happy Gilmore too. I really wanted to talk about this with you two guys. What do you want to see the storyline be in Happy Gilmore 2? Is this just a straight up seniors tour battle between these two guys? Is it one of my buddies, Mark Majo, said that Shooter definitely took the live money and now he's trying to come back and play like a major or something? What do you want to see in Happy Gilmore 2?
Is this happening?
It's happening. It's a thing with Netflix. It's happening. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Well, there definitely needs to be a redemption story, a rehab involved, a down and out moment for probably, I guess, Sandler's character. Shooter. I love the taking the live money and coming back.
Is that not great?
Certainly some sort of redemption level. I'll be honest, I had no idea that this was happening. Happy Gilmore is, I'm not a big movie guy, but I have seen Happy Gilmore.
Well, Happy Gilmore, though. Yeah.
That is a true classic. Geez, I don't have to think about that more. But yes, I want to see a great redemption arc, including a bottoming out, coming out of rehab, picking up the sticks again.
For Happy.
And then,
yeah,
exactly. And then a showdown with Shooter, who's obnoxiously taking over. Well, I guess it could be the seniors.
It could be seniors tour. They could definitely pull off seniors tour, which I think would be good. Northside Sandwich in the nasty chat says, Shooter and Happy become friends, and they have to come together to defeat a mutual foe. So there could be like one guy where they have to work together. I don't know, Patty. What do you think? What do you want to see?
Yeah, maybe they join some sort of like Ryder Cup team and they have to go.
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I'll be honest. Don't want to rain on the parade. I'm kind of afraid, to be honest, that they're going to ruin.
It's okay to be worried.
Having another one. I'm worried. But if one thing that will make me happy is if Will Zalatoris is Happy Gilmore's caddy, because he looks exactly like the caddy at the Canterbury Open.
Has to be in that movie. You're 100% right.
He's grown up.
They're doing it wrong if Willie Z is not making a cameo in that movie. You're so right.
Yeah, they got to do that.
That would be awesome.
Well, and Netflix has a great relationship, obviously, too, with the tour, with Full Swing and stuff like that. So I think there's be a good connection here. I'm excited. Yeg Welder guy says Happy needs to fight Drew Carey, which would be good. He's the host of Prices Right now. That would be good. I think I'd have some time for that as well. So I hope they do it right. I mean, they redid Top Gun 20 years later or 25 years later, and it was awesome with Top Gun follow-up. So hopefully they can do the same type of thing with Happy Gilmore. As for the Houston Open, it's another discussion about what's the number on Scotty Scheffler and what do you do here? Isn't it us?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. Although I will say this, and again, shout out to our friends at Coolbet. So Scheffler is the shortest number I've ever seen for a golf tournament, a full field golf tournament. He's plus 280. However, in the exclusives, in the Coolbet exclusives, if you look at the Houston Open specials, plus 300 for Scotty Scheffler. So if you are holding your nose and throwing down on the shortest number we've seen for a favorite ever, do it in the exclusives because you'll get plus 300 as opposed to plus 280. And you can also take Scheffler Clark, either one, to win it 2-1. But Pat, as you have mentioned, I mean, I don't know about Wyndham Clark right now. He seemed to be not in tip-top shape heading into this week. And I know he said, "Oh, I'm fine." They always say that. There is I mean, first of all, he can't beat Scotty Scheffler, so that's number one in his way. But even if Scotty wasn't there, when you see a guy that's kind of dealing with a few kinks and not feeling great, does give you pause before laying down a wager.
Yeah, it's too bad because, I like the number on him, 14-1 to win. Again, Scotty has become his kryptonite, but the back is an issue. And as everyone knows in golf, a back injury is something that you can't just play through. It's not like, a bum knee or, hurt wrist. Don't get me wrong. Those are tough to deal with as well. But look at what the bad back did to Tiger Woods' career. Look what it's done to so many guys. Back's a thing where you can't play through it. You got to rest it. You got to rehab it. You got to address it. So, I mean, unless he's kind of, downplaying it or actually not downplaying it, being honest that it was just bad yesterday. It was, a kink in the back or whatever it may be. But knowing just how much back issues can plague golfers, not just for one tournament, I'm worried about him going forward because he's a golfer that I was really interested in betting for the Masters in a couple of weeks. So that's something that I'm probably going to stay away this week and wait and assess to see what happens. And if he wins, he wins. Oh, well, put my hands up. It's fine. I just don't really want to risk where the two biggest factors going up against him is a back injury and his kryptonite in Scotty Scheffler, who's playing some of the best golf we've ever seen.
Yeah, those are two check boxes that you don't want to see marked if you're Wyndham Clark right now. So, keyword for Vegas coming up here in about 8 minutes. Patty, lead the way here, man. Who do you like? What are your plays this week at the Houston Open?
Well, Scotty, boost 300. That's a no-brainer for me. Auto bet. Again, if you don't like the number, I'm still taking it. I'm still going to bet it. There's no reason not to. The other play that you could do is if you would prefer something different, maybe you bet him at plus 900 to be the first round leader. But we've seen, in fact, him not start out so hot and still be able to come back. So I don't even know if that's really the play. Maybe if he starts out slow, as I've mentioned on this program a few times, bet him on Friday morning, bet him on Saturday morning, heck, maybe even Sunday morning, because we know if he's within striking distance, there's a good chance he can win. The only unfortunate thing is I think with how well he's playing, this might be a wire-to-wire type of thing for Scotty. So I'm just going to take the easy marks here, not try to get cute about it, and I'm going to bet him at plus 300. My favorite play, though, outside of Scotty is Sahith Theegala. I don't think enough people are really talking about how good Sahith's season has been so far. He has 4 top 10 finishes in 8 starts this season, including back-to-back top 10 finishes. He had a T6 at the API and a T9 at the Players. Those are 2 tough courses in 2 pretty impressive fields. Way easier than what he's going to be going up this week, with the exception of Scotty Scheffler. He's 4th in total stroke gain. Only Scotty, Xander, and Wyndham Clark are gaining more strokes per round. We know how elite he is with the flat sticks. He's 7th in stroke gain putting and 10th in putting average. Where Sahith's game goes sideways is his inaccuracy off the tee, his sand play, and his play around the greens. He's 123rd in driving accuracy. He's 137th in sand save, and he's 103rd in total strokes gain around the green. Why am I giving you these bad numbers? Because I don't think it's going to come into play at this golf course at Memorial Park. When you look at it, Memorial's got massive fairways and has the fewest traps of any single course on tour. And his last start here, he actually gained 5.2 strokes around the green. He also moved to Texas. So although he's a California kid, this is a bit of a home game for him. So at 18-1, I love it. My favorite play of the day, of the week, I should say, top 20 at plus 100. We already said his name, Willie Z, another California kid, moved from California to Texas. And I know he's coming off that missed cut at the Players.
But he was so good before.
Fourth.
So good before.
Real good. Fourth at the API, second at the Genesis. He's a guy that really does well when he goes up against these really tough courses, these long courses. And Memorial Park fits that bill. He finished in 5th in stroke gains approach to green and 20th in strokes gained tee to green. Everyone wants to make fun of about his putting. And yes, there are some ugly clips out there. But quietly in his last 3 of his last 4 rounds, he's actually gained 1.3 strokes or more. So the flat stick's starting to heat up for Willie Z. And the fact that we're getting him at 20-1 with how he played before that miscut really just didn't make sense to me. Even before the odds came out, I knew my 3, I was going to play 2 of the 3. It was going to be either Scotty. Well, it was totally going to be Scotty. It could have been minus 150. I'm betting him. It was going to be Scotty and then either Wyndham or Willie Z. And when I saw the numbers come out, Will Zalatoris was a no-brainer. The back only played into it. And then the last one that I have for an outright, Jake Knapp, 50-1. Going through some course comparisons because, yes, I know we've had the Houston Open. We haven't had the Houston Open, though, in this spot during this time of the year since about 2018. And when you go from playing it in the fall to playing it here in the, at the start of spring, the course is completely different. So it was really hard to go with, previous successes at the Houston Open in the last few years. That's the thing that I kind of looked into. So I looked at some course comparisons, and the Mexico Open was actually won. And Vedanta, who won this year there, it was Jake Knapp. He also has 3 top 10 finishes at the Farmers and the Cogginson, and then, of course, his win at the Mexico. I know you're going to say, oh, well, he cooled off the last 2, but the last 2 that he did play, they were courses where you have to be careful off the tee. You have to be accurate off the tee. This is a course where he can just grip it and rip it and just mash the ball. He's inside the top 20 in strokes gained total, driving distance, and club head speed. So I really honestly think him off the tee here is going to cook, similar to what we saw at the start of the year in some of those great finishes, including his win in the Mexico Open. I also really like him top 20 at plus 185.
Figured there was a top 20 number coming there. Huss, who do you like?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to wrap my head around, even with the nice boost to plus 300, betting a golfer in a full field at plus 300. Now, I mean, I did it at the Players, and it paid off big time at plus 575. But I mean, we're cutting that number in half for this tournament. And obviously, to get any sort of a win, what you normally would sprinkle on other golfers, you need to add into the Scotty bet and then some. So I don't know whether I might just pass on Scotty, and if he wins, hey, that's just the way it goes, because he probably will. I'm definitely betting Will Zalatoris, and you kind of laid it out, Pat. He has been nails this year. And listen, missing the cut at the Players is that there's so much randomness when it comes into the Players. Like, listen, at the end of the day, 100%. You're going to have the best players playing there, but you get a weird bounce, you put one in the water. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen. I don't take too much at all. Like, oh, his season's turning down. It's going down in the tank because of a miscut there. Far from it. And the value on Zalatoris with the way that he's played so far, I mean, I really do think it's a matter of time before he gets back into the winner's circle. So maybe this is it. I mean, Tony Finau's the defending champ of this event. I am obligated through my membership of the Fino Fresh Club to throw down. But to be honest, Tony has not been great this year. I mean, he's just been sort of average. He's got way more to show and to give and maybe a place at a tournament that he's a defending champ can actually get that out of him. I mean, at 25-1, he's going to get a sprinkle. But I think the most significant bet is going to be Will Zalatoris. I don't mind that Jake Knapp sprinkle, to be honest with you, Pat. I hadn't really thought too much about Knapp, but with his game, having already won this year, having some really good results, I mean, this is sort of a breakout season for him. And in a field, yes, you got to beat world number one. But if for any reason Scotty just doesn't have it this year or this week and is not in there, then I think it really becomes sort of anyone's game. And so maybe you do look down the field. Hollywood Hoagie is another guy at 50-1 that has sniffed around this year, and he's it's so funny. The guy's from Fargo, North Dakota. Every time we drive through there, I'm like, I cannot believe that this city produced a PGA Tour golfer. Shout out to our friends in North Dakota. But it's hard not to look towards the top of the leaderboard, and it's almost impossible to get past Scheffler, but I think it's even harder to get past Will Zalatoris. So we'll be cheering for Will. Obviously, we'd like a 2,000 winner as opposed to a plus 300 winner. Although nothing would make me happier than Tony finding his game and getting back into the winner's circle as well.
Let me just quickly give out the keyword for the EST Flyway to Vegas, and then I'll give you some of my picks. You won't be surprised that I'm also on Will Zalatoris, so this is a unanimous sort of lock shop day. But the EST Flyway is happening right now with the Fly YEG and the LVCVA. Listen for the keyword 4 times per day right here at Edmonton Sports Talk for your chance to win a trip to Vegas. 2 nonstop flights, 3 nights accommodations, tickets for a Cirque show, presented by Fly YEG and the LVCVA. Nonstop flights over 50 destinations. Your sports trip starts with a nonstop flight from Fly YEG. Your keyword today, you text this in right now to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Trev, confirm this for me. You got the list over there. I think it's okay. Under. Today's keyword is under. Text under right now. UNDER. Text under to 780-218-9999. 780-218-9999. Stay by your phone. We'll call you in about 10 minutes. We'll add another qualifier to this list. Today's keyword on the lock shop is under. Fire that over right now to 780-218-9999. Zalatoris at... You nailed it, Pat, when you said at 20-1. How can you not get on him with the form that he had prior to missing the cut last week? I mean, he'd been absolutely on fire. T13, T2, Tier T4, strong T to green game strong T2 green game. Definitely something that Zalatoris is going to bring to the table. It is his debut here, but with the way he's been playing so well, the rest of the caliber of the field. Love Zalatoris at 20-1. I'm gonna bring Alex Noren into the conversation at 35-1. 9th on the tour in fairways hit, 4th in greens in regulation, 1st in scrambling, 5th in scoring, 6 for 6 so far this year. 2 top 20s, T19 and T10, or T19 and T9 rolling in, and he was T4 last year at this event. So decent form recently. Played the course well last year. Alex Noren at 35-1. And then just a 50-1 here for myself as well. Aaron Rai. 2 starts here. T18, T7 in 21 and 22. During that time, he averaged a score of 68.88. And he has 2 top 25s in the last month as well. So he's been playing pretty good recently. At 50-1, Aaron Rai, I'll slide in there with Alex Noren at 35-1 and Zalatoris at 20-1. So Zalatoris, there's some sort of Zalatoris play to lead our parlay here, boys. But what else are we looking at?
Well, one other thing, by the way, I do like, we were just kind of talking about Hoagie. This is maybe a good tournament to look at some of the group bets. Just because, I mean, if you're freaked out by Scotty Scheffler, you can get 3-1 for him to win the tournament, or you can get 3-1 for players to beat 4 guys. So, I'm kind of looking at Hoagie. Hoagie's plus 325 in Group C over Kitayama, Hostler, your guy Rye, and Mac Hughes. Hughes and Rye both plus 350 to win that group. And then I think just because he's been our guy. The Gim Reaper plus 310 to win Group D. with Billy Ho, Luke Liss, Pat Rogers, and Torbjorn Olesen in there as well. But we should take a quick look at the exclusives because, as we mentioned, get over to the Coolbet exclusives, click on Golf Boosted Odds. You will see the Scheffler boosted to plus 300 if you are going to bet him. That's where to do it. But there's also a couple of interesting ones. I mean, Zalatoris, Finau, and Theegala all to finish top 20 is plus 750. Scheffler top 5, Clark top 10, Jason Day top 20 plus 650. Although the Clark situation makes me worry a little bit. And well, Patty, you may as well talk about the Greggy's golf special because we got a little make the cut action.
Yeah, Theegala, Zalatoris, Knapp, and the Gim Reaper, all to make the cut at plus 270. I almost made this one all top 20, to be quite honest, just because of how much I like these guys here. But played it a little safer, and the fact that the fellas gave me, a great number at plus 270, I thought it was a no-brainer. So I really like that one. I love, and this is a cool bet homer, but Pendrith and Svensson both to make the cut. If Svensson can put together the 3 rounds that he put together, in the first 2 days, there's no way he doesn't make the cut. And I think with this long course, with the wide fairways, we know Pendy, he's an absolute bomber. I think this course fits really well for him. So both of those guys to make the cut for the brand, absolutely gonna sprinkle that with plus 200. If we're in terms of building the parlay, obviously Willie Z.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw him there. Do we want a piece of Scotty at like plus?
I was wondering, do we look like 5? Scheffler top? I was just thinking, right before you brought it up, I was like, are we going Scheffler top 5, Zalatoris top 10, and then somebody in the top 20? What do you think, Huss?
Let's see, just what's the
Scheffler's like minus 150 or something, top 5.
It's
149.
They're like Connor McDavid assist type numbers, man. It's like, it's nuts.
It's will Connor get a point? I mean, obviously, I'm in on on Willie Z. Sahith is there. There is one actually that I just clicked on in the exclusives already. That's up right now. That's sort of similar to that. Where it is? Where is it? Zalatoris. No, that's the cut one. Oh, maybe I'm. Oh yeah, Scheffler top 5. Clark top 10, Day top 20 is plus 650. And then Zalatoris, Finau, and Theegala all to finish top 20. I'm already in on that one. So yeah, I mean, do we want to pick a few guys later, further down the board, maybe for top 20s, like a Jake Knapp, a Doug Gim, some of those other players? And
you guys were both on Knapp, weren't you? Didn't you both? I thought you were both on Knapp.
I like Knapp in this case for a top 20.
For a top 20. Knapp, Zalatoris, and Scheffler, 20-10-5.
I almost say we don't even work with the Scotty.
Just leave Scheffler right out.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, what about Theegala then? Well, I mean, do we want to go?
Well, the only thing is I've got my Greggy's golf special, and we've got similar players there. So
yeah.
I know we like Zalatoris, which is fine. We both like Knapp, which is fine. Do we want to maybe throw in one of, if we were to go 4 guys for top, Huss, you had what was it, Hoagie in there? Do we want to throw a Hoagie in that top 20? Do we want to?
Well, I had Noren in there. He's got 2 top 20s in the last little bit. T4 here last year. I'd feel more confident in Noren than Ray, to be honest. The putting for Ray can be a bit concerning.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we go with Noren, and we go Jake Knapp, and then
Willie.
I mean, we put Zalatoris in, and even if we just put those 3 guys all to finish top 20. We're probably getting a relatively good number.
I would
think that's probably a good number. Yeah, hey, let's do that then. Let's go Noren, Knapp, and Willie Z top 10. I wanted to get some MLB futures in today, but we pretty much almost got to get rolling here. I don't know. Maybe we could get you to hop back on quickly at some point here, Pat, and talk some Blue Jays or what?
Well, just quickly plug the new Jays, bets that are up right now.
Yeah, let's hit those.
It has sort of split that win total home and away as well as up right now. Although over 86.5, let's just hit that, and every win will be a victory for the Lock Shop.
Yeah, again, I thought you guys did a really good job the other day talking about the Blue Jays. There were some delusional takes, there were some good takes, but again, it's the hometown team for us. It's the country's team. So, I like, again, I'm more on the side of Jake and Dusty. I'm weary, but I also, at the same time, I'm like, if I'm going to go to games, I want this team to be good. So if you are on that note, there are a couple of specials that have been added for the Blue Jays. Huss, this one's like almost tailor-made for you, considering your picks for Cy Young. Any Toronto Blue Jays pitcher to win the Cy Young, the AL Cy Young Award, plus 475. Any Blue Jays player to win the AL MVP at plus 850. And then Blue Jays regular season home wins over 45.5. 45.5 over under. The over is minus 105. And then the Blue Jays regular season away wins 41.5. Those are both minus 110 on either side. So a little more of a deep dive for the Toronto Blue Jays if you're looking to get a sprinkle there quickly. I'll just throw out my two quick best bets.
Yeah.
Bo Bichette lead the MLB in hits. He was super close, actually. If you stretch out his like what he was on pace if he played the full season, he actually would have only been 2 behind the lead. The other one, Tampa Bay Rays over 84.5 wins. The Rays have not gone under the 85 win mark since 2017. We always just forget about the Rays, and then halfway through the season, we're like, oh, they're leading the division.
How come Tampa's good again? What's going on with this? This is weird. All the time, every year. Man, that just even that number surprised me. Since 2017?
Yeah, 2017.
Man.
So, I mean, it doesn't matter. They just roll out different guys. Who is this guy? Oh, cool. Now he's a perennial all-star. So it is what it is, but that's the Rays, baby.
Huss, what's coming up on Winnipeg Sports Talk today, buddy?
Well, lots more on last night's game. Jets are practicing today. We'll hear a little bit more from them. Murad Atesh is going to jump on. Rawicki, lots of hockey talk. We will talk a little bit more Blue Jays and actually dive a little bit more into Blue Jays props and the Coolbet lines as well. I think Josh Goldberg might pop on for a little bit of a season preview. And, of course, look ahead to tomorrow when the Jets take on the Vegas Golden Knights heading into Good Friday.
All right, boys. Huss, we'll chat with you tomorrow. Patty, thanks for popping by, and let's go nail a golf parlay here.
Hey, by the way, just on the way out, shout out to Rod Z. I did see Rod's note that the Sens have lost each of their last 9 games at KeyBank Center following a win. So I'm throwing the Sabres on with the over 6.5. Comes out to about plus 260. So that's what I am playing tonight. Fellas, have a great one. Let's get it. And, oh, God, just knowing that the Houston Open is right now, looking at the calendar, we're just a couple weeks away from you-know-what. So then again, are Masters odds up right now, by the way?
Oh, hell yeah, they are. Yeah. Absolutely. So
they never go down.
Scroll down. No. Scroll down to golf. Click the majors, and you'll be able to find all the majors there. The Masters are there. I actually, as the show was going on, full transparency, guys, I made a bet on Will Zalatoris, 25-1 to win the Masters. Because when he wins this weekend,
momentum is there. Momentum is there. Yeah, there we go. Good idea. Hop on it early. Huss, I can tell you.
5-1. 5-1 right
to win
now
the Masters.
To win at
Crazy.
Augusta. How
Crazy.
about that? All right, fellas, take it easy.
See you guys later. There you go. That is Huss and Pat Gregoire inside the Lock Shop. Let's get to our qualifier, the third of 4 qualifiers today here on Edmonton Sports Talk. YouTube, Trev, who do we got?
We've got Menopause Nick.
Menopause Nick. Holy smokes. Menopause Nick. Congratulations, buddy. You're one step closer to a trip to Vegas.
Hey, Nielson.
Hey, Menopause Nick. Congratulations, man. This is exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you been to Vegas
I'm
before,
pretty
Nick?
pumped. Yeah, I went once. I went and saw the Golden Knights in their first season.
Okay, so that's going back quite a ways. So now
They were playing the Flames, and I wore my Oilers jersey, and my buddy and I brought a sign that said, "Flew all the way from Edmonton just to boo Calgary."
Now you're a married man. You're a father. Who do you bring with you on this trip if you win?
Well, I feel like the obvious choice is my wife.
Nick, you're a beauty, man.
Either her or my buddy Andrew.
All right. Okay, so it's your wife or Andrew. You're one step closer, buddy. Good luck.
Thanks, man.
There you go. Menopause Nick qualifying for the EST Flyway to Vegas. Your next chance to get that keyword coming up here around 12:40 today on the Oil Stream. We got lots to get to coming out of that game last night, the Oilers and the Winnipeg Jets. Tommy Gazzola is here. He is ready to rock, and we're going to get rolling with the Oil Stream. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure autoplay is turned on. If you are listening on iHeart or TuneIn or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, brief dose of Whale and the Wolf, and then the Oil Stream firing up here at high noon today. That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for joining us. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.